recommend for everyone, so like in sort of an overarching approach is get clear. If someone wants to come to me, I don't write resumes from scratch anymore. I work with people on them, but when I did, people would come to me and not know what they wanted to do. I can't tell you that. You can work with someone. If you're starting with your resume, you need to get clear on what it is that you want to do and be able to articulate that, because someone writing it for you can only put into words, put on paper what you've shared. And they can ask you questions to dig it out, but you yourself have to get clear. And so there's a couple of different exercises that I'd recommend to do that. One of them is the almighty brain dump. Pen and paper, Google Doc, it works really awesome. Sometimes we want to jump in and say, but that's not relevant. Don't worry about it. Just get it all out. I have to say, like when I did this exercise many years ago, I remembered that I came back to something I really enjoyed, which was when I was in first grade, I was the narrator. And then every year after that, we had our school play, I was a narrator. And then in eighth grade, I was like the MC. And then I started facilitating. But when I was, so like, I didn't really think about, I just started noticing when I got it all out in that brain dump, I'm like, oh, I like being that person who's kind of like with you on the journey and sort of like guiding that process. I didn't know what a facilitator was till I was a full-fledged, probably 30 something, 30 something year old adult. But I took the time, someone walked me through this exercise and I started saying, yeah, I did like that. So maybe I'm not a facilitator as a full-time role, but I learned that I liked roles where I could facilitate. So I learned that I like to be, maybe even in a meeting, that's just a role that I naturally gravitated toward. So when I look at roles that I'm interested in for work, like for a full-time job, I would say, oh, that has some of this in it that I really enjoy. It's not that I wanted to be a facilitator as a full-time, because I think that's way too much energy for me. But I like roles where I could be in that position to just kind of guide the experience. I really enjoyed that. So I would say, let yourself just put it all out there. It doesn't all have to make sense. It's not all going to seem relevant. And some of it won't be. Some of it might just be, I like doing this when I'm off, but and that's okay too. But just get it out there and allow yourself to explore some of the possibilities. Another approach that I like is, using LinkedIn as a research tool. I absolutely have done research on LinkedIn, not just looking for jobs, but looking to see what is it that people do. I've learned about some things that I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't know resume writing was a thing. I didn't know facilitation was a thing. I think by me stepping outside of the people that I worked with, I learned so much on LinkedIn. Doing a search, looking for people who went to your school, hearing things, looking them up. Who does this job? Oh, what do they do with this degree in this area? I don't know how many of you, when you were like 7 or 8 years old, said, I want to work in corporate real estate. Probably not many of you, probably not many of you. So just allowing yourself the opportunity to figure out what you want to do. But in addition to what you want to do, where do you want to do it? Do you like a big company? Do you want that name recognition? Do you like working in a big team? Do you want to work as a specialist or maybe more of a generalist? Look and see what it is that you enjoy doing. So those are sort of like 3 things to think about before you get started, before you even type out any bullet points. The only bullet points you should be writing is like all of the things that you love, all of the things that you've done, and even maybe the things that you don't love. Like maybe you found yourself being in a specific role all the time, like maybe the leader, but you really don't like being the leader. People just select you as a leader. So then you should write that down too, because maybe you don't want to do that. So think about the things you really enjoy and the things that you really don't enjoy. Give yourself that space before you start writing that resume. Start there with the clarity piece.